Hi, this is A. Wilson. That ain't even tells it like a TI is. If you like my video, please give it a thumbs up and consider subscribe. Topic I'm going to talk to you today about is the Nelly and Ashanti reality show We Belong Together. Like I said, since Housewives of Atlanta growing up, I'm catching up on all the other shows that I wanted to review along with those, but Atlanta has so much going on. But anyway, it starts off with Ashante um, at the townhouse talking to her friend of the family, Sophia, and her other friend, and she was saying, "Ashante, you really been planning for this party. Do you have everything under control?" She said, "Yeah, I got the dancers, I got the caterers, I got the food, I got all this." She said, "I'm gonna give him a surprise." She said, "Yeah." Didn't you said, "Yeah, didn't you give him a surprise last year?" She said, "Yeah, I gave him a surprise last year. I gave him a car, and he really loved that car. And he told me the only other surprise that would make him happier than me and him getting his car is that he become a father. And little did we know, a little bit after that, he was gonna become a father." That's what Ashante was saying. And then our friend said, "Ooh, look like you got everything together, everything together." She said, "Yeah, I got some more surprises for him, and I can't let the cat out of the bag, and I don't want nobody else to let the cat out of the bag." And Sophie said, "You know, I ain't gonna tell him nothing." And the girl said, "No, I ain't gonna tell him nothing." And she said, "Does Nelly know exactly all these surprises you've been planning up?" She said, "No, he don't know nothing about the surprises." She said, "All he knows is that he has to wear gold." She said, "Oh, he has to wear a gold suit." She said, "Yeah, I have to wear a gold suit." And she said, "I hope all of my surprises come out for Nelly." Next thing you know, her phone rang, and when she got off the phone, she told her friends that one person that she wanted to help her surprise Nelly, so he wasn't gonna be able to come. So it switched to the next scene, and the next scene, and the next scene was well, it was still the same scene where Nelly walked in. He said, "I don't want to interrupt y'all conversation. What are y'all talking about?" And Ashante said, "We ain't talking about nothing except for the party." The party said, "Oh yeah, y'all been talking about the party for a while." He said, "What's gonna be going on in the party?" And he said, "Only thing I want to see in Las Vegas at the party is a slot machine." She said, oh, go on, Nelly, you being silly." That's what Ashante was saying. And then Nelly said in his confession that that runs in the family. His granddaddy was a gambler, and his grandmother was the one who was the one who liked to make money, and she would kind of corral him in so he wouldn't gamble up all the money. He said, "I know that ain't nothing to be proud of, but I'm just saying." And so she said, "Nelly, don't you got to go to rehearsal or photo shoot?" He said, "Yeah, I got to go to rehearsal for my little concert." He said, "I'm going to go and get up out your way, but I'm just letting y'all know, I'm just letting them know." And he said, "I'm going out here with that preaching." And he was trying to preach and quote Martin Luther King as he was walking out the door and stuff about "I have a dream" and all that kind of stuff. And so it switched to the next scene, and the next scene was Ashante at the venue, and she was telling the people that now put that poster right there and have this go right here. And he said, "Well, we could put that poster right there." He said, "But all this other stuff where you want these people walking with these stencils," he said, "that's not gonna work." He said, "Why?" He said, "They're gonna be a safety hazard. A safety hazard and a fire thing. They ain't gonna work. We gotta take that down." So they said, "Oh yeah, we gotta look for safety." So if there's gonna be a safety issue, go on, take it down, go on, take it down. So they went on, take it down. And then she said, "Ooh, everything else in the party looks good. Everything else in the party looks good," and stuff like that. And she was saying, "I hope Anderson Paak don't ruin the party, because I told Anderson Paak to come to the party to to perform with the band and stuff, and I had other singers coming." And so she said, "Oh yeah, I'm getting everything ready for the party." And they said, "What time the party start?" She said, "Well, the party gonna start a little bit after 11. You know, 'cause we got stuff to do. He got stuff to do, and I got stuff to do." And then um, Ashante's mama came in the room too and said, "Ashante, before you go to the party, you remember y'all got this entertainment tonight in the." And Shonda said, "Oh yeah, we do got that, we do got that." Said, "How long gonna be?" And then she said, "I don't know how long gonna be." And Nelly said, "Yeah, how long gonna be?" And she said, "Well, I don't know how long gonna be. We just gotta go." So they got to the Entertainment Tonight studios, and the lady was asking them the question. Said, "Yeah, You came out and said y'all was secretly married. Nobody knew y'all was secretly married, and then you started showing a ring and a bling. You when you was at this award show and people wondering what was going on. Then you kind of came out and stuff. She could ask the question, and then and Nelly was looking at the time, and Shante was looking at the time, and they was saying, "How many more questions? How many more questions?" And she said, "Well, I just got a few more questions." And then she said, "Oh, Ashante, can you tell us about what's going to be happening for y'all, for y'all next? And what's going on? What's going on?" And you say, "It looks like it's going to be a reality TV show, and Ned's going through and stuff. Is that true?" She said, "Yeah, yeah." And he said, and he said, "Ashante, is there anything else that we forgot to ask you that you want to tell us?" Ashante said, "No, you said it all." She said, "Oh, we got to go now." I said, "Oh, y'all got to go now." She said, "Yeah, we pushing for time. We pushing for time." So Nelly says they came late to the party, and as Nelly was as Nelly and Ashante was coming to the party, and when she was in a confessional, uh, when she was in a confessional, Ashante's mama Tina said, uh, "Business come first, and party and everything else come later." Nigga, and I was saying yes, she always said like yes, she one of the mama just to gonna make sure that money come in, and so they all got to the party, and Nelly walked in first. Him and Ashante, he told me he wanted to thank his baby, his wife, Ashante for giving him this 50th birthday party and stuff like that and stuff like that. And he was saying he was glad that his mama was able to come and I'm able to make it. He said, and all the stuff that his mama had to go through and stuff. And he was saying the stuff that he went through as a child in his childhood, he didn't think it was going. He didn't think he was going to make it to 50. He said because some of his friends didn't make it to 50. And he was glad and blessed that he made it to 50. So after he talked about his mama and all that kind of stuff, they showed people giving him gifts, and they showed Jermaine Dupri giving him a pair of slippers with some gold trim around and all kinds of stuff. They was white, and he said, "Oh man." He said, "Oh man, you know I love you. I like you." He said, "You the one to help me get some of my albums out the operate Jermaine Dupri." He said, "Oh yeah, I'm happy to help you celebrate your 50th birthday." And then they all got to talking around. They was dancing stuff. And then Nelly noticed the elevator was coming up. The elevator was coming up, and he was saying, "Who is that coming out the elevator?" And she said, "Ain't nobody coming." And Shante distracting him. He said, "Ain't nobody coming out the elevator." I said, look over here. I told you I had a whole wine bar here on the wall." He said, "Who put this up?" She said, "Well, I got the people to put it up." He said, "You don't know why you got them to put it up." He said, "It's ugly." He said, "Take this down." And so as she was doing it, Anderson Paak walked in, and then Nelly was kind of shocked and surprised. He said, you got a show in Vegas, Anderson?" He said, "Nah, man, I ain't got no show. Do you got a show?" He said, "Nah." He said, "Why you here?" He said, I'm just here for the party. They said you having a party." He said, "Oh, if that's the case, let's go ahead on and party and celebrate." And so Shante was in the corner, and she said in the confessional that that Anderson Peck almost messed it up, but he was he was able to cover for her. And then later on, uh, after that, Shante had introduced Kevin Hart, and Kevin Hart, used to be on the Housewives, I think it was the Hollywood husbands and stuff like that. And so they was all on the same show together, and Nelly and Kevin Hart, and also Nick Cannon, because I used to watch it back in the day. But anyway, he was talking about, "Yeah, man, I'm gonna be here for you. I'm gonna be here for you. You know, I'm your friend and stuff." He said, everybody don't. He said everybody don't make it. Everybody don't get a chance to make it to 50. And I was saying that's the same thing Nelly said at his house. And so you could tell that Nelly and Kevin Hart was playing off of each other. You can tell they really not friends because what's called had a funny look on his face, Nelly. And so after he said that, uh, uh, after she said that, Shonda said, "Here come the singers and singing." And so she had a couple of people there, but then she also introduced Anderson Peck, and he was singing a whole lot of Nelly songs like "Hot in Here" and all that stuff. And Nelly was happy, and he was in the crowd dancing and all that stuff. And then so they had like a they had like a big type jazz type band in the background that was helping, and they had a lot of people singing and stuff. And so it switched to the next day, and the next day Nelly and Ashante was at their house, and he was saying, "What went on at the party? You know, I was drunk and drunk." She said, "Yeah, you were drunk." He said, you know I like to drink. She said, yeah, you sure like to drink. He said, you also gamble. He said, did I win any money? She said, yeah, you won some money. You won a lot of money. You gave some to your mom. He said, oh, I gave some to my mom. She said, yeah, you sure was drunk. I didn't know what's going on. She said, you showed them. She said, you were so drunk, you got out there singing, with the big jazz band. He said, no, I didn't. You don't know what you're talking about, Chantal. She said, yes, you did. Yes, you did. She said, because I got the footage to show you. He said, show me. So she got on her cell phone. He said, oh, yeah, I am singing with the band. He said, who is that woman singing in the background that's all off key and don't know how to sing? She said, all off key? That's Momager. He said, Momager. That's your mama? He said, yeah, your mama was great. She said, every time my mama can't sing. He said, well, she sure was off key though. She said, but you sure was trying to sing with it. He said, in order for me to try to sing with Momager, I had to really be drunk. He said, you would. And she said, Nelly, you know Christmas coming up. And he said, yeah, I know Christmas coming up. He said, well, what we going to spend it in New York or in New Orleans, in St. Louis? He said, well, you know, we got to spend sometime in New York or sometime in St. Louis. He said, he said, my great grandmother can't travel like she used to. She can't travel on a plane. So we have to spend one time in Christmas, and we have to spend Christmas one time in there and one time there. He said, you know what Christmas is all about. He said, Christmas is all about family, and it's supposed to be about family stuff. He said, yeah, too. But Christmas is mostly about spending money. I said, Nelly, you ain't never lied. I said, when I used to celebrate Christmas with my family, I used to have to go out and spend money, help my mom with the kids. So he right about that. And so the next thing you know, they showed them packing and getting up. And so they came there. And so Nelly mama opened the door for Nelly and Ashanti. And Nelly was saying that the mamas love Shante, but what it is, he got the dad. The dad is like him. And so he came over there and he said, Mama, what did you do with that money that I won you? I gave you? She said, yeah, I got it back there in the safe. You ain't getting it. You ain't getting it. She said, I just want to know what you did with it. Now I'm keeping it for safe keeping. And then so she said, what you eating, mama? And then Nelly's mama told her, I'm eating pizza from this place. She said, oh no, I don't like that pizza. She said, people, St. Louis pizza tastes bad. Ain't taste nothing like New York pizza. He told me, you just a New York girl. Tell me, this New York got good pizza stuff. He said, yeah, New York got good pizza, but they also got roaches. I mean, not roaches, also got rat. Nelly showed the interview where rat was eating a piece of pizza that somebody had dropped. I said, ooh, this, I said, ooh, that's kind of shady. And then after that, and then after that, Nelly said that he wanted to spend some time with his daughter Chanel and his son too before they start the Christmas stuff. And that was the end of episode 3. It says games we play, and so I'm kind of glad. And like I said, I did my first video on Nelly and Ashanti, and I got okay reviews on it. But I was going to review the show whether I got views on it or not. But anyway, I like the show, and I didn't know Nelly was that funny. I mean, it's like they kind of play off each other. It's like Shantae is more of the calm, serious one, and Nelly is more of the funny joker one that really don't take life too serious. But like I said, this is a good show. I'm already on episode 3 and it only has 8 episodes, so I'm going to keep on until I finish it. That's all I have for this video. This is A. Wesley. That ain't even tested like a TI is. I ain't out.